Oh, yes. Look at this little lineup. Look at this Friends decked out geekdom going on over here. I know we're like a month removed from the Friends reunion, everybody, but this was a long time coming, this stream over here, and I've got an awesome panel here to discuss what I think may be the greatest sitcom in TV history. My apologies to my buddy Ryan for that statement, because I know he's a big Office fan, but you know, it's all good. It's all good. First of all, you might remember my pal Manda from Candid Cinema. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. I'm excited too. This is, a while. Long time coming. And brand new to the channel. I'd love to introduce this guy to you. He does movie reviews on the regular as well. One of, I think, 20 different Zacks on this medium. But it's good to have my buddy Zack Milne in the chat here. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. How you doing, man?
Good. Yeah, we were talking a little bit, and I'm tired, but I've got my energy boost over here. Mountain Dew Major Melon, totally not a sponsored video, but if this is your first time visiting the channel today, welcome everybody. Go ahead and click that big red subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. Hit that thumbs up. We're on the road to 700 and counting over here somehow. And I have but you know what? I've also left the links to your guys' channels down in the description. So go give them some love. Also, go and subscribe to their content. It is amazing. But obviously, from the thumbnail, Zack, I hate to disappoint you. We are not talking about iCarly today. Even better, we're talking about Friends. This is, again, Zack and I were chatting a little bit before I hit go. That reunion just gets me every single time. I've watched it a few times already. What did you guys think of the reunion? Quick thoughts.
For me, I loved it just because I love seeing them together. That's the only thing that kept me going throughout. But I could have done without the host. I thought it could have been a bit more intimate, just them. And I think the only thing that was lacking was that they needed to have more discussions among themselves for the full hour, and just have behind the scenes tidbits and stuff like that. I wanted more of that rather than the theatrics of bringing models in and that kind of stuff.
Bringing in all the costumes, all of Chandler's clothes and all that.
That was my biggest complaint with the reunion, was just the too many celebrity cameos taken away from the main cast.
Yeah.
But when it was focused on the main cast and they were in those old sets and they were sitting and just talking and recounting stories, it was really, you felt like you were at a reunion yourself with your friends. And I thought they did a really, really good job with it.
Yeah.
Tugged at your heartstrings. I personally, I get what you guys are saying. Some of the guest stars, only in some cases, the guest stars I really, really enjoyed. I really enjoyed seeing them in that trivia game, seeing Tom Selleck pop up randomly.
That was good. Yeah.
Mr. Heckles, I think his name was, pop in. I'm like, wow, I haven't seen you in years, but no, it was great. And that whole opening sequence, I haven't cried at something so much since freaking Up. I haven't cried that much at an opening since Up in theaters, but good Lord, one of the most emotional openings ever. But you got to say what's up to my buddy Luke in the chat right here. Glad to be here talking Friends with you as well, with some good friends, of course. Marcus, my pal, how you doing? Look at those beautiful faces. Could I be any more happy?
What a gem.
I'll take it. What a gem. Yeah. So, folks, this, all due respect to my other recent ranking streams, this has probably been my toughest list to make yet. Because we are going to be ranking our 10 favorite episodes of this amazing little sitcom here. I don't know how hard this list was for you guys to make, but there's just so much to choose from. There's so much goodness here. I feel like all of our lists are going to be incredibly different, but I cannot wait to see how all of your lists turn out, though. Everybody in the chat, let us know what your favorite episodes are as we count down along. I'm sure everybody knows how a ranking works. My friends, we're just going to go, how we're going to do this, we're going to go clockwise as you're seeing on screen. So my guests will go first, and then I'll follow them. So, Zach, you're going to lead us off every single round.
Lead you off?
Yeah, so we're just going to go number 10 to number 1, and then we'll just kind of go. You guys all know how this works. We're going to kind of explain why we picked it for this spot, like what our, like why we like the episode, the importance of it, the emotional aspect of it, whatever you want to talk about, really. We're just going to have fun for a little while. But, yeah, guys, real quick, just what does Friends mean to you? This is wow. I know this may be a loaded question, but
that is Zach, loaded.
I think that Friends came at a very perfect time for me. I was just transitioning from elementary school to middle school when I got into the show. It was the summer of grade 6 for me, and it was just a show that was really like comforting and inviting. I didn't have too many like social groups at the time, and they became my social group. It's just a show that when you watch it, you don't always feel like you're watching a show. You feel like you're in the show, you're with these characters, and it's just one of the most comforting shows that I've ever experienced. And still to this day, whenever I need a cheer up, I go to Ross, Chandler, Joey, Phoebe, Monica, and Rachel. Yeah,
couldn't have put it any better, my man. I got into the show, I would say, around middle school, so roughly around that age. And, again, I was pretty socially awkward back in middle school, so I didn't really have a lot of friends I could go to. But I had these 6, and I got them to cheer me up. So,
it's true.
Great times. Still, even on a rewatch, I feel like this show's on in the background in my house all the time. But Manda, I don't know if I could say the same for you. But
oh, totally. I always have this on repeat.
We're
I do.
Always quoting it. Always quoting it.
It's hard not to quote it because it's just so quotable. Like, even when I'm watching the episodes, it's like I'll be saying the lines before like Chandler says it, and my mom just looks at me like, are you okay? And it's like every single line. I'm and like, what's wrong with it? It was like, no, like I memorized it. It's really bad. But when I got into it, it was actually really funny. And because I remember it so vividly, my dad used to work late on Thursday nights. So my uncle would come over and spend time with my mom and I when I was a kid. I was like 4 or 5 when the show was on. And he's the one that got me into it. So he'd come over and I'd watch it with him. And then I remember growing up with Friends with that specific memory. And then the finale just obviously wrecked me. But it's very, the connection to these guys, they're like very emotional for some reason, just because they're our friends that you welcome them into their home, like into our homes, and they become family. And, you kind of identify with each of them at one point in your life. Like I keep switching from like Monica to Joey. Sometimes I'm Chandler, but you can identify with them. And I just love that.
Of course. Yeah. And I feel like I just identify the most with Chandler, just because him and my style of comedy is very similar. But with that said, lots of quotes incoming, I'm sure, as Marcus is referencing Unagi. Of course you are. Salmon skin rolls. Yeah, so funny. Even though I hate sushi with a passion, but I know.
Shame.
It's raw meat, guys. So what do you want me to say? It's gross. I don't know. But Luke says I first watched Friends around 2017 when it was on Netflix, and it's a fantastic show. Yay. Funny you mentioned that. I also was showing Zack earlier, but I have all 10 seasons on Blu-ray.
Yep.
Basically for the sole purpose of what if HBO Max or Netflix takes it off their service, True. So I always want to have them. But with that being said, again, so many episodes to pick from, but let's just dig into the pleasantries. Zack, lead us off. What's
Number
your 10?
All right. I could have done a top 20 as I was going through like all these episodes. It's crazy how many episodes just stuck out to me. Like, oh, maybe that one or that one. Like, it was almost like I was getting rid of my children. Like, I'm sorry, guys. It was Sophie's choice. I have to get. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
And it was also hard not to choose just based off like a specific moment that I remember, because there's so many great moments in this show.
Yeah.
So I tried to go for episodes as a whole that I really enjoy watching from start to finish over again. So my number 10 is the one where Ross got high.
Yes. Oh my god.
Yes.
I love that one. Okay.
Yes.
This is one of their classic Thanksgiving episodes. Chandler's nervous to meet Monica's parents because he finds out that they don't like him. But it turns out they only don't like him because they walked in on Ross getting high in college, and he blamed it on Chandler. You got the classic Rachel mixing up the English trifle with half a shepherd's pie.
God, I love that. I love that episode. I love it so much.
The best.
I want to go.
It's the greatest setup. I shouldn't have put beef in the trifle. I love Jacques Cousteau. I want to go. Oh my god! But the timing. Sorry, I'm just. Oh god, it's on my. Yeah. Anyways.
No, it goes right into my next point where it's Ross and Monica's sibling rivalry that happens throughout the show is some of my favorite when they're just acting as brother and sister. Mm-hmm. And at the end of this episode, you get a whole big blowout of them just revealing things to their parents that they were hiding for each other. And then all the rest of the gang just jumps in with all of their confessions.
Oh, my God. Yeah, well, Hurricane Gloria didn't break the porch swing. Monica did. That is a big Thanksgiving episode. I somehow did not put that on my list, but I'm going to have a lot of Thanksgiving ones coming up. I'm glad you brought that one up because, again, very similarly, I could have made a top 25, and I feel like if we had extended this list, that one definitely would have been
here all night, Zack.
We'd be here for 4 hours.
We could be here all night. Yep.
Isn't there 300 episodes, I think? Something.
Yeah. 200 something.
200, yeah, 200 and...
It's
I can't remember, 15, something like that, 210.
Holy crap.
Why did I think it was 300? Jesus. Something has 300 episodes.
You just watched it so many times that you thought 300 episodes.
It's doubled up now. You're oh no, it's 300.
You would think it's 300 episodes, but all right. Milne has the one where Ross got high, number 10. Manda, what you got?
Oh my god, it's so hard. I wrote down extras just in case, but
honorable
I know
mentions.
Yeah, that's why I'm stressing. I am a huge Monica and Chandler fan. The whole friends to lovers type situation really warms my heart. So I'm gonna go with the one with the proposal part 1. That was just the most beautiful episode. Their relationship just happened so naturally, and that's why I think I love them so much. And when you go back and rewatch the episodes, the early ones, they had a great connection and they had great chemistry between the two of them. So the proposal part 1 is emotional because of the way it was set up, the whole psych job with Richard and Chandler going absolutely nuts with Richard before going to Monica. And it is just beautiful with all the candles in the apartment. And then she ends up proposing to him, which was one of the biggest moments, so progressive back in the day. But it was just beautiful because they both really couldn't talk. And then they both go on their knees and kind of just express their love for each other. And it's just beautiful. I love it.
A tearjerker, to say the least. Yeah,
I was Chandler during that scene.
I was I can't do this. Don't make me do this. The best line is I'm a girl. There's a reason why girls don't do this. And it's
it's such an emotional scene, so you kind of got to add that comedic levity to it. But just again, brilliant comedic writing and that big fake out with Richard in there. Tom Selleck, you gotta give credit where it's due. Probably one of the best guest starring performances in TV history. As far as if you ask me, Tom Selleck is a superstar in that. But my number 10, this may shock a lot of people because I usually don't see this episode on top 10s, but this is the one episode that I watched back in middle school. I was a big football guy. I played 6 years of Pop Warner football, so it was this episode that kind of really got my fandom kicked off. It's season 3, episode 9, the one with the football. So this is another Thanksgiving episode popping up. Similar to so I feel very similar to this, how I feel about how Brooklyn Nine-Nine does with their Halloween themed episodes. Friends always knocks their Thanksgiving episodes out of the park. And this was one of them. Ross and Monica drafting teams between the 6 friends to play a game of touch football in the park. Chandler and Joey fighting over this Dutch girl and fighting for her affections. eventually getting to a point where they ask her, which one do you like more? And I'm like, Jesus, you would never see that. But, Chandler getting the vindication, tearing up Joey's favorite jersey. And I love Rachel's arc in this episode. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love it. I don't feel like Rachel gets enough credit as a character. A lot of people find her like a whiny type character, self-entitled. But, I mean, she's finally chosen at some point. I mean, like, there was a point where she's like, oh, you didn't pick me. You're stuck with me. And then she ends up winning the game winner. And then the reversal of, oh, she didn't cross the plane. Now that ball is still alive. And Phoebe, Phoebe was extremely funny in that episode too. Like, how she didn't exactly understand the game and she ends up like killing it.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love it. And how it ends is just so perfect with Ross and Monica still on the ball and it starts snowing. Just picture perfect. Again, similar to what Zack was saying, that sibling rivalry. Yeah. I mean,
classic.
I can't think of another perfect episode than that to really encapsulate the sibling rivalry they had. But certainly very friendly. Not the last time you're going to see a Thanksgiving episode on my list, by the way.
They're so good.
I love them. Oh, man, they're so great. But we're just going to continue on, folks. Number 9, Zack, what you got?
For number 9, I have the one with all the resolutions.
Nice.
Yeah. So on New Year's, the friends challenge each other to keep their New Year's resolutions. Chandler can't make fun of his friends, can't make jokes at their expense. Joey's trying to learn guitar from Phoebe, and Phoebe doesn't even know the names of the chords. Old lady.
Old lady. Bear Claw.
Bear Claw.
Joey's like, what?
And then I think the highlight for sure of this episode, Ross wants to do something new every day, so he buys a pair of leather pants.
Yes.
Goes on a date.
Yes.
And goes to the bathroom, tries to get some air going, and he can't get the pants back on, so he tries to call Chandler, and he gets stuck with Joey, and Joey just makes him lather himself with all of these lotions and soaps, and it's just this hilarious segment that is one of my favorites of all in all the shows.
It could be so misconstrued as something else, and then Ross comes out of the bathroom to his date and she's like, what have you done?
Just holding his pants.
I had an accident or something like that. He said something along those lines. But yeah, that is quite the Ross episode. Lots of Ross shenanigans throughout the show. He just gets himself in so much trouble. But I mean, I'm thinking about the one with the sandwich, but I don't know if that's on anybody's list. Oh no, my parents and I still quote the my sandwich thing. So it's just
every time.
Oh, you ate my sandwich? Did it happen to be someone else's turkey sandwich with a moist maker?
Oh my god!
Did it happen to have a note? Like, Ross, you need help. But in any case, yes, I love that episode, Zack. The leather pants, nothing beats it. So much so they had to display that on the runway during the reunion.
Yeah.
There you go. Much to Amanda's annoyance. But speaking of, what do you have?
So I'm gonna go with the couple thing again, because this was a very pivotal episode for Ross and Rachel. I'm going to go with the one with the prom video, because it was just that was the first time that we actually, I believe, had a flashback episode. I think that was the first one where they actually showed the recording and they did the flashbacks. And I think that's why they kept doing the flashbacks in later seasons, because that one just like popped off and did so well. But you had that tension between Ross and Rachel, and then actually watching the reunion and knowing they actually had a crush on each other while filming was just was crazy, mind-blowing to me, because it was just off the charts. It was off the charts, their chemistry. So the one with the prom video was just very sweet, very wholesome. you got to see them in in like their college years, which I have the top. I'm wearing it right now. If you see
There
it.
you go. Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Nice.
it for like a Thanksgiving, and I was like, nah, like this is perfect. So it's just a cute moment. The whole, he's her lobster, she's her lobster line from like Phoebe's iconic, and just that entire moment of Rachel just like, you did that for me, and walks over to Ross. Like that was a pivotal moment in the Ross and Rachel saga. So yeah, I have that at number 9.
The ongoing saga. For sure.
Yeah.
It's a great episode. The first time we see Rachel with the gigantic nose, the first time we see heavyset Monica.
Yep.
It's awesome. We get a lot of history about the friends at that point, a lot of backstory there. But hey, funny you mentioned that episode, Amanda. It's not this episode that comes in later on my countdown, but at number 9, I put in the one with all the Thanksgivings.
Nice.
So there it is. Another Thanksgiving episode.
good.
More flashbacks coming in. We get heavyset Monica, and we know that she had a crush on Chandler. Chandler called her fat, which is not nice. And he ended up losing his toe. The essence of the toe. It's the best part. It's the best part.
It has the nail.
It has the nail on it. Yeah. You brought this isn't your toe. This is a very small, very cold piece of carrot.
God.
I can only imagine how that surgery must have gone. But with that said, I mean, that's a gruesome and dark in and of itself. And they actually did replicate the iconic score from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho at that moment, which is ridiculous. Which is ridiculous. Played for comedic effects this time. But
I remember that.
we also have one of my favorite comedic bits: Joey with the turkey on his head.
I remember that.
Gotta love that. And he's like, I put it on to scare Chandler. And he does scare Chandler, but he has no freaking idea where Chandler is. He has no idea. Chandler walks in and he's like facing completely the opposite direction. Chandler's like, yeah, right here, buddy. Yeah, you are.
I
love it. Love it. It was awesome. And it all goes full circle. It does feel kind of pivotal because this is the first time Chandler tells Monica that he loves her, albeit by accident. But, that's definitely turns out to be more than that for sure. Not joking later on, as the proposal episode would indicate. But
exactly.
Yeah, that's two episodes down for me. 2 Thanksgiving episodes. I think we need to shake it up a little bit. But
they're all good.
I love how everybody's episode so far has been different. Like it's so awesome. But again, that's how diverse of a show that Friends is. Everybody. But Zach, what you got? Number 8, next victim.
Number 8. I've got the one where everybody finds out.
I knew it. I knew that was going to pop up sooner or later.
Has to be on here, right?
Has to be. It's a classic.
After nearly like half a season of Monica and Chandler keeping their secret relationship, Joey found out, then Rachel found out. So this came at like kind of the perfect time where it started to get a little bit like it was time for it to be exposed. It was time for the friends to know. So Phoebe sees them getting intimate from across when Ross is there looking at ugly naked guy's apartment that he's gonna buy and or put in an application for, and the freak out that she has, and Rachel's trying to calm her down, and then Ross comes into the room and David Trimmer does that
the
best. He even did it in the reunion special, and I died when he did that again. I love that moment.
It's perfect.
He knew everybody loved it. He knew everybody loved
it. Fashion, instead of just coming out and being like, we know, they don't know that we know, so they decide to mess with them and having Phoebe act like she's attracted to Chandler, which leads to this battle of seduction as the other side won't crack. And eventually the episode ends with Ross. He's got his boss in the museum who he just freaked out about with the sandwich. He's showing him the apartment, showing him back on his feet, looks across the window, sees what he's seen. Get off my sister!
Such an amazing credit sequence.
So good.
Credit sequence. One of my favorites.
It's so good.
I absolutely love that episode. It's you're gonna see it later on my countdown, so I may gush about it in a bit. But All I'll say is right now that season 5 might honestly be the strongest season in my eyes, just because you have so many pieces going on. Mm-hmm. Like you had the one with the resolutions episode that Zack was talking about already. I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, that might be the episode where Rachel finds out about Monica and Chandler, where she hears like a booty, she hears like a booty call, and then
I think so, like
Rachel, she can't gossip, so she finds out, and then she can't talk about it.
Yes.
And Joey already knows, and he's like, "Well, you're not supposed to be gossiping." Like, it's so incredible. But Manda, what you got?
Okay, so. It's so hard because like this is one of my favorite episodes and I watch it over and over again, but I have other favorite episodes, so it's really hard. But I went back to Thanksgiving and I picked the one with the rumor because Brad Pitt is one of the best guest stars ever. In all of Friends, that was absolutely hilarious when they started the rumor, Ross and Brad Pitt and Will, that Rachel was a hermaphrodite cheerleader from Long Island, and and that whole Thanksgiving dinner, because obviously Brad Pitt is Brad Pitt and was married, I believe, to Jennifer Aniston at the time. There was so much tension there, and they just had such a blast. And I think Lisa Kudrow really just nailed it home with every single comment about like, take off your shirt and tell us. It was like the funniest thing. And then Brad Pitt was just glaring at Jennifer Aniston the whole time. He yelled about the yams, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm sold. The hair flip, everything that he did is iconic.
Just loads his plate up with yams.
Oh God,
like, completely.
Yeah. It was just so freaking funny. And just hearing Rachel say, you gave me a teeny weeny. And it was just like the funniest thing ever. Like, is that why this person didn't want to go out with me? And then, and then Will found out that obviously they dated, or what was it at the time? With season 8, they have a kid at that time now.
Yeah.
Or they were married, something like that. He finds out and he's like, you broke the pact. But anyways, I'm going off.
He knocked her up. She was pregnant.
There we go. That's
Rachel was pregnant with Ross's kid. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just one of the best Thanksgiving episodes. So
it really was. I enjoy the later seasons, like a little bit more sparingly compared to like the middle part of the series. Like, there were like the good episodes were kind of few and far between, sadly. I mean, you had some fun episodes pop up, like the one with Brad Pitt. You had the one with Freddie Prinze Jr. where he plays a male nanny. I love that episode. I don't think that gets enough credit, but this episode that I'm going to talk about, it's a season 10 episode. You have another guest star popping up, pretty famous right now because of another sitcom going on. I'm going with the one where the stripper cries. Danny DeVito popping in as Phoebe's male stripper. He comes in as the cop, and Phoebe wants nothing to do with him because she's getting married to her husband. But that's not why I picked this episode. That's not why I picked it. It's because this is the episode where Joey goes on Pyramid. $100,000 pyramid.
I forget that he does.
I love that episode so much, and the guy he was playing with could not get out of that room any quicker. Because he was trying to tell Joey all these things you can find in a fridge, and Joey's like, this will be easy. And then he just a spoon, paper, snow, a ghost. Oh my God.
Sorry, I'm crying because every time I just hear him say it, paper, snow, a ghost. And I was like, okay, Joe.
No, my favorite thing is when Donny Osmond tells him, you're gonna tell this woman here, you're gonna describe these various things about United States Congress. And then Joey looks at Donny Osmond like he came from another planet. Joey has no clue what to do. And then the word addendum pops up, and he's like, okay, it's that little thing that hangs down the back of your throat. Oh, a uvula. Oh no, pass. But
He's the best.
love that episode. Love that episode. Not even necessarily. This isn't to discredit Danny DeVito at all, because I thought he was really funny. You know, like such a. Again, Friends and their guest stars, they really never get enough credit. But you know, again, I feel like Danny DeVito was kind of overshadowed in this episode by Joey and his stupidity on Pyramid. But that's one clip that I just have to have on repeat sometimes whenever I need a good laugh. Pyramid, Joey. So yeah.
Funny.
With that said, yeah, lots of. I'm sure there's going to be other later episodes to come. But Zach, here we are again, number 7.
Number 7. All right, I got the one where Ross finds out from season 2.
Oh,
Yep. Yep. This is. It was kind of like the pinnacle of the will they won't they with Ross and Rachel at the time. Rachel's on a date. Ross is going to get a cat with Julie, his girlfriend, and she's just getting drunk on this date, and the date's having a horrible time. Yeah. So eventually he suggests to her that she needs closure. So she leaves a drunken message on Ross's answering machine, revealing her feelings towards him. David Schwimmer's performance when he hears that answer machine, and Jennifer Aniston is just like climbing all over him trying to get the phone.
So good.
And you just see his face as he hears the words. It's just like perfect. And then just later on in the episode, a confused, angry Ross comes in to Rachel at Central Perk when she's just closing up, and they have this big blowout, and he leaves, and she locks the door for him to come back, and they unlock the door, and they just have this iconic kiss as the doors fling open. And even though it doesn't last for as long as we wanted to at the time, it's finally the moment where Ross and Rachel, we get they're finally together for a little bit.
Yeah.
And especially after the reunion, knowing that they had feelings, and they just packed all those feelings that they couldn't act on into that scene. I watched that scene again earlier today, and it hits differently now.
With whole different context there. Marcus says it's art. I cannot agree more. I could not agree more, Marcus. But yeah, and also how it all comes around on the theme of closure. You know, again, Rachel, like after that big blow up, I love how she yells at him, "You know what? Now I have closure." And then
I love it.
That's when she goes and locks the door. So just genius writing. I mean, not just comedically, but you know, just how these characters are meshed together, like, and how they evolve. It's perfect. It's perfect.
And the performances too in that episode. I mean, Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer are doing some really great stuff with those characters in that episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jennifer Aniston with a lot of range being shown there. David Schwimmer getting put in a sleeper hold when he's listening to that voicemail. It's just, it's great. It's great. Probably one of the most iconic episodes of the series, if you ask me. But what do you have, Amanda? What do you have for your 7th?
I'm stressed.
It's getting tougher. It's getting tougher.
Because there's like one moment that I love in one episode, and then there's like a massive moment that happens. I'm stressed. I'm gonna do the one with Ross's wedding, because they went to London. They went to London for Ross's wedding, and Monica's feeling like all down because one guy mistaken Monica for Ross's mom, and Chandler's there for her. So there's like that budding thing that will eventually happen. But Rachel shows up, and Ross says Rachel at the altar.
The wrong name. And there was just so much drama. It was one of the best episodes. Everyone's faces, even Phoebe on the phone. Because she couldn't go to the wedding. Oh my god, it was just classic. She was completely pregnant at that point.
So pregnant, but
she was so pregnant, and she had that big argument with that British woman and New Dorsetshire.
Yeah, Emily's mom. It was Emily's mom.
It was. That's right. That's right. It was Emily's mom.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. Man, I forgot about that character.
Yeah, I remember that. And just the whole wedding, it was like they were being obnoxious, and Joey like tells Emily's dad to like piss off, and it was really funny. It was funny.
Yeah.
That one was really just shocker and added to the Ross and
Totally.
Rachel saga. So there we go.
Saga, yes, 100%. If you can call it a saga, I feel like it's more than that. But yeah, bit of an understatement. Yeah, but yeah, a bit more of a tease romance than Peter and Mary Jane and Raimi's Spider-Man. But anyway, beside the point. Gotta say what's up to Kevin in the chat. What's good? We're just ranking our favorite Friends episodes at this time. But when it comes to it, Luke says when it comes to a show like this, it's something you can't reproduce. Yeah, I would agree with that. My number 7, I don't know if I want to spend a ton of time on this because this is an episode that was talked about already. The one with the prom video, the 2-parter where Ross and Rachel kind of officially get together. I mean, the seeds were planted in that episode that Milne was talking about over here with, the one where Ross finds out. Yeah. And then like the episode right after that is the one where the boys force Ross to make a list. They force Ross to make a list between Julie and Rachel, pros and cons. He chooses Rachel, then Rachel finds the list, and she's offended, and, she storms off, and I'm like, man, you're really teasing this romance, and then the prom video turns on. Ross, I mean, David Schwimmer was great. I mean, credit to him for having that afro on when he did, and that mustache,
best.
and then him and Chandler, like, in the Thanksgiving episode that they had, they just kind of get, they get to the point where they're just rolling up their sleeves like a couple of dweebs, and I'm like, geez, you guys are not cool. But I mean, it was great, and just the reaction Jennifer Aniston had. You did that for me, and I'm like, awesome. But again, cannot discount the comedy in this episode whatsoever. There was one point where it's revealed Monica's overweight in this video. Regular Monica's like, oh yeah, don't worry, there's like 10 cameras on me, it adds 10 pounds. And then Chandler's like, so how many cameras are actually on you?
He's such a dick.
Such a burn. Chandler, he's always good for those zingers, but the one with the prom video, absolutely iconic. You can't go wrong with that one. Marcus thinks it's the best one. Number 7 for me, but certainly one of the most iconic. And the list, yes, that's not a reference to the list of Jericho that was just released. Of course not. But with that said, here we are. We're almost halfway through this list already. I don't know how.
Crazy.
But number 6, Mr. Milne. God. What do you have?
Well, another one that's been touched upon, the one with Ross's wedding is my number 6.
Yes.
For a lot of the same reasons that Amanda has it. I think that this was, for me, I've always said when I've talked about this episode with my friends and family, this was the episode that really made the show, I believe, go on for the 10 or the 6 more seasons that it was going to have, because they introduced the Chandler and Monica relationship. I think the Chandler-Monica relationship is something that you didn't think about, and when it happened, you were like, of course. Like, of course they get together. And I think that gave the show even more legs. Besides just having the Ross and Rachel, will they, won't they? They added another couple that's actually my favorite couple in the show.
Same.
You got them shooting in London. You've got some fun, like, British actor cameos, like Hugh Laurie on the plane.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Oh my God, I forgot about him.
Yeah, you remember.
Yes, kind of the first character in the series that admits that they were on a break, because he says to Rachel, by the way, it appears that you were on a break.
Rachel gets so offended too.
She's like, oh my God, you don't even know me, and you're like, you know what I mean?
She was like, how do you know this?
And then it just ends with like one of the most shocking season finales I've ever witnessed. 12-year-old Zack couldn't reach for that season 5 DVD episode 1 fast enough after that episode ended.
Yeah.
Definitely in my top 10.
Take the Rachel. Yep. I love it. And I also agree with you. This isn't an episode that's going to be appearing on my list. Just to be honest, this is probably an honorable mention just for all these reasons that you were mentioning. But I really, really loved how they picked a different, like, space to shoot at. I'm sure some of this was on studio, but you get London, you get the backdrop over there. It's so different compared to the concrete jungle of NYC, but it's very dapper, very proper. Joey's hitting on all the bridesmaids, and they're falling for all of his parlor tricks still.
And his hat, Joey's hat.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Yes.
I love London.
London, baby.
London, baby.
London, baby.
I love it.
Joey's the best, but Manda, I know this is a lot of pressure.
It is. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I think it was season 10 where there were, they shook up the couples a bit, and it was Charlie and Joey. No, it was a Charlie and Joey at one point, and then
it was Charlie and Ross, right?
Yeah, so they kind of flipped it, and then it was Joey and Rachel, and then it was Charlie and Ross, and it was a whole mix-up. And Ross is fine, okay?
Yes.
Fine. Fine.
I love that episode.
The one where Ross is fine is my sixth one, because David freaking Schwimmer with the margaritas saying L is for O is for this. I'm fine. Just every 5 minutes, it was the funniest freaking episode. And it came to a point where it was season 10, and I didn't expect them to make an episode that funny and have Schwim outperform the rest of the cast again with just his comedic timing. So that entire mix-up with them in the apartment, having the margaritas, the entire discussion, the awkwardness, it was just perfect. And one of my favorite episodes.
I love that episode too. Again, that's what's so tough about this list. There's episodes that I love talking about, I love reminiscing on, but it is not on my countdown, either because I was like, oh, they slipped my mind and now you're jogging my memory, but I love it. I love how he says, "Ee." It's so Schwim. I love it. But even then, Ross was still getting into a lot of trouble in season 10. Remember the spray tan episode?
Yes.
Where did you go? The sun?
Hold on. There's something different. Yeah, I went to that tanning place your wife suggested. The sun? Yeah. Oh, did you count Mississippi? No, I just had to get a picture of this.
Oh, God.
Awesome. I love David Schwimmer so much. But this episode that I'm going to talk about, this is the only two-parter that's going to be on my countdown. I had to have a two-parter somewhere. I think, I don't know if the prom video is two parts, actually. If that's the case, that's two. But with that said, this is without a doubt my favorite two-parter of the whole series. This is an episode that has not been mentioned yet. I'm going with a different wedding of Chandler and Monica. So I love the proposal. I love all that. The wedding just hits different for me, though. Yeah. I mean, just having I will say kind of having Chandler get cold feet at some point. To me, in hindsight, that does kind of feel a little bit forced. But the payoff and the emotion is really what gets me. How they exchange their vows. Chandler has something written. He gets rid of it right away. Monica, she speaks from the heart for sure. And then Joey being the guy to officiate the wedding.
Oh my God. His soldier outfit.
Well, because you also have one of my other favorite guest stars popping up, and everybody who's into the Academy is really going to hate me for this right now. Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman, Herman Mankiewicz, Winston Churchill himself, Sirius Black, and him and Joey get on set and they just start spitting in each other's face. Joey confronts him about it and he's like, well, you're spitting all over me, man. I don't like this. And he's like, well, that's what an actor does. They spit on each other. And then they get to a shoot and they do a certain take and they're just spitting all over each other. And they're like, hey, that's fun. I will say, as an actor myself, as a stage actor, that happens all the time. Happens all the time, and it's always great. I mean, I don't want to say it's obviously that's a big reason why the pandemic shut theaters down, I'm sure. But with that said, I speak from experience. That's way too damn accurate. So Luke, Friends has the right mix of comedy and emotion. They use those aspects correctly. I certainly agree, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
He also says Gary Oldman is a master actor, Amanda.
He used to be.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm serious.
Hot takes. Hot takes.
He used to be. He phoned it in for me. Anyways, it's a totally different story.
Oh, my word. Oh,
Yeah.
my word.
I'm sorry, Luke. I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't need to apologize. We all have our opinion. But with that said, folks, we are already halfway through the list. What the heck are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Here we are, number 5. Top 5, baby. Top 5.
Top five.
Yeah.
Another one that we've touched upon, the one with the prom video, is my number 5.
There it is.
For a lot of the reasons that you said it was for yourself. But yeah, like when he makes that list, Ross makes that list of Julie, Rachel, you think they're about to get together, then Rachel sees that list, and it just like destroys the momentum for a couple episodes, I think, until you get to the prom video episode, and Rachel basically tells Ross, like, this is over, there's no hope for you, accept it. And then you get the prom video where all the friends sit down and watch, and you get the first appearance of Fat Monica and Rachel pre-nose job, and Ross looking like Bob Ross. And when he does that run up the stairs and trips and falls, like
I forgot about that.
Zack, how did I not pick up on this?
We need a Bob Ross meme with like old Ross. I just it clicked
with
right
his reveal,
now.
just like looking at them as he's like
with his like stash too. Oh my god. So
yes.
Thank you. I cannot unsee that anymore.
His keyboard.
His keyboard? No. No.
Oh my god, the bagpipes. Oh, sorry. That's a totally different.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. I forgot. Okay.
I forgot about that, but
I forgot about the bagpipes.
Why? He's like, Monica's like, why is your family Scottish? Why is your family Ross?
Oh god.
It's a fair question, Chandler, and you're welcome. You're welcome to ask that. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay to segue. I could talk about Friends all night, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the episode's capped off with the famous Phoebe line. He's her lobster, and it's just one of my favorites to rewatch. I love that episode.
So amazing for sure. Prom video. I think that's the first time an episode has popped up in all 3 of our lists, but there we go.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It's been all different at this point. It's one of the great ranking video, guys. Here we are, all good. So Manda, what you got? Again, here we are.
So it's such a random episode title. So it is the one with the embryos. And it has Phoebe going into the surrogacy for her brother. And then they find out that she's pregnant by the end of the episode. But that's not why this episode is amazing. We have the trivia game. We have the trivia game for the apartment. And it was fantastic. It's iconic. They did it in the reunion. No one knows what the hell Chandler's job is, and the answers that we get, Mrs. Chandler Bong on the TV guide, which Rachel and Monica steal every week, like small things like that. Those tidbits have stayed with me. And man, oh man, when they switch apartments, that was also why that season in particular was just so much fun because everything was upside down. So I love that episode.
Actually, it's Miss Chandler Bong. gotta love that trivia game. Again, it's a random episode title because you would think it's centered around Phoebe getting pregnant, but it's all about the trivia game, man. It's all about the trivia game. And Luke has a great question. Who doesn't like a good old trivia game?
Exactly.
You know, that's part of why I had the pyramid episode on my countdown. You know, paper, snow, a ghost. I'm just gonna every time now. Every time I see Manda in one of these streams, I get a reminder of that now. Thanks, everybody. But okay, so my number 5. It's another episode that was mentioned already. Manda had it on her list. The one with the rumor, Brad Pitt. That's the big thing. And I feel like this was season 8, so it came out like 2001, 2002, something like that. One of those. He was just coming off of a little movie called Fight Club. and he still had those frosted tips of Tyler Durden, and I'm
good.
like,
you totally did. You're
oh
totally
my
right.
God.
You're right. That's
Oh my
right.
God. And now he's just all comedic. He's still a jerk, though. Like, my goodness. He's definitely a more comedic jerk than Tyler Durden, but like Phoebe just gushing over him. As another Thanksgiving episode, mind you. Again, Friends knocking it out of the park on my list on the Thanksgiving front. But yeah, I mean, you just got to love exactly what you said, Manda. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were married at the time, and they just were at each other's throats. I'm sure they had so much fun having that dynamic on set. And just like everybody's reaction to him and Ross, him and David Schwimmer were excellent together. Oh man, and just again him loading the yams on his plate and just getting screaming out yams after he gets in the best shape of his life, and now he's just gonna lose every single bit of that muscle with the yams. But I can only imagine what that version of Brad Pitt looks like now. But or should we say the variants of Brad Pitt in that regard? Isn't that, I feel like that's the case though. I feel like Ross is just a variant of David Schwimmer. Oh, like, isn't that the case? I feel like
I think we can just start saying that now, because that's what actors are gonna end up saying for themselves.
Of course, yeah.
My filmography, those are all my variants, guys.
But of course, low key is gonna be another topic for another time. Number 4 on the countdown, Zach.
Oh wow, number 4
already.
Yeah, I have the one with the embryos.
Hey, that's
awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's everything. The trivia game. The trivia game is great because it's not just incredibly funny, but you learn new things about the characters through the questions. And it's just like another insight into who they are, and it's just so much fun to watch Rachel yell transponster. He's a transponster.
It's not even a word. It's just so funny.
It's
Monica's
not.
delivery too.
I still don't know what Chandler Bing does for a living. Even like, whenever the episode came out, 98, 99, something like that, like years and years after the fact, you still don't know.
I've heard it so many times and I can never remember what it is. It's like data configuration. Numbers analysis. I don't even know.
But didn't he go into advertisement afterwards?
Yeah, I think it's season 9. Season 9 is when he was like, I want to be an advertisement.
Yeah,
you could just say that then.
It was that whole angle where he had to move to Tulsa, right? Yeah.
Right, yes.
Yep. And he had to, he was sleeping on the job and he reluctantly agreed to go to Tulsa. But I do have a bone to pick with that episode though. So there was a point where what's her face? Monica is like completely like against moving to Tulsa, and Chandler is quoting from Oklahoma the musical. Oh, what a beautiful morning, Surrey with a fringe on top. And then she's like, okay, are you trying to tell me that we're moving to Tulsa or that you're gay? And I'm like, okay, not all guys in theater fall under that, they don't swing that way, Monica. Don't assume that.
So, it was a different time, Zach.
It was. Because there's a lot of like gay jokes in the show, especially with like Carol and Susan. Like they really laid it on thick when that entire situation happened.
The show wouldn't last the season if it came out today.
Yeah.
And all the characters would be canceled.
The stuff with Chandler's father would not fly today.
No way.
The more turkey, Mr. Chandler. That would not fly. But actually, you know what, Manda? I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because Zach mentioned it. That's also my number 4, the one with the embryos.
We all
because all around the same spot too.
Wow,
there it is. But I mean, what can be said about that trivia game that hasn't already been said? I mean, Monica called a big fat goalie. Chandler having the wrong ideas and whispering in people's ears. I can only imagine what he was whispering in Joey's ear when they had the whole grocery gimmick at the beginning.
I remember.
And he whispers in Joey's ear, and then Joey's like, Nope, not for like another 3 weeks. I'm like, Jesus. Like again, it left up to your imagination, but That whole trivia game, Chenandler Bong, like Viva Las Vegas, and like again, that would not fly. But why is one of Monica's pet peeves animals dressed as humans? Like
it's so random.
I have never seen an animal dressed as a human in my entire life.
You haven't been on my grandma's Facebook page.
What?
That's all the meme.
I love it.
Dogs in coats and sweaters.
Oh my god! Yeah,
awesome.
my puppy wearing socks, but good lord. But anyways, Manda, here you go. Number 4.
I'm gonna do my fate. This is literally top tier for me. I die of laughter. I can quote it. It is the one where no one is ready. And it's like, it's an early season. I think it was like season 2 or 3, and they had to get ready for Ross's paleontology something and a dinner or whatever. But no one was ready. We had Monica dealing with leaving a breezy message on Richard's machine while she was trying to get ready. You had Chandler and Joey fighting over the essence of the chair. And it was just amazing. You had the whole Ross and Rachel, Ross yelling at her to get ready and blah, 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 blah. And then Phoebe spilling hummus on her shirt and wearing a friggin' Christmas, like, like wrapping. The big thing. Look, it's fine. It's covered. And it was just the writing impeccable, comedic timing on point. The best episode, the one where freaking Joey wears all of Chandler's clothes. Like, it is just awesome, and I love it so much. Could
Joey be wearing any more clothes than that?
Maybe he wasn't going commando.
That's totally opposite of serious.
Better not do any lunges.
Oh, God.
I'm sitting down in front of my shelves, so I can't do lunges right now. But I'm more than happy to gush about that episode later on my list. But I totally agree with you for the time being, Amanda. So, top 3, baby, already. How?
Top 3, wow.
It's great. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, this is one that Amanda brought up before. The one where Ross is fine. The one where Ross is fine is David Schwimmer's just top masterpiece performance in Friends. It's it's so funny because it's really a mental breakdown. He walks in, he sees Joey and Rachel kissing, and he just invites them over for dinner with him and Charlie, his girlfriend that was once Joey's girlfriend, and he just goes ballistic. Like, he's just making all this random stuff. He's just drunk, and it's just so entertaining to watch David Schwimmer in that performance. It's my favorite performance by David Schwimmer in the entire show.
Wow. There you go.
So
it's a perfect encapsulation. Perfect encapsulation of a mental breakdown for sure, because you just can't fathom Joey and Rachel being together whatsoever. But there you go. I mean, I love that episode. Ross was, again, getting into a lot of trouble in season 10, taking away Joey's girlfriend, and then Joey's, returning the favor, basically. But there you go. There you go. So at this point, Amanda, I know this is difficult.
It's so hard.
I know this is hard. Top tier Friends. I'm just picking one.
Oh, God. Which one did I put here? Yeah, this is where I put the one where Ross got high. That was the one. And we discussed it, but that is top 3. Everyone yelling at each other. Like Judy and Jack Geller, MVPs, dealing with all those crazy kids.
Oh, they were so good.
They're amazing. And again, we found out so much information about how they were before and their connection to each other. So it was just a lot of fun. And then we had even Joey and Ross together trying to leave. And you had Rachel with the bloody trifle. And it was just next level, and I die laughing every single time I watch it. So.
Yeah, Manda, this is so good that I'm going to go out and enjoy it on the balcony so that I can enjoy my view whilst I enjoy my dessert.
Yeah. This tastes like feet. It's just so fun when he says it. I like it. The look on David Schwimmer's face when he says that is just like the most, like it's the funniest thing. What's not to like? Custard, good. Jam, good.
Good.
Typical Joey.
Of course, Joey would say that the meat is good, even though his favorite food is sandwiches. But you can only imagine a Rachel Green trifle sandwich at that point. I'm sure Joey would fall in love with that, and everyone else would just hate it. But
it was just so funny. I love it.
God, I love that episode. And like again, to your point, Judy and Jack Geller, those guest stars are not given enough credit. Elliot Gould, I know, plays the father. The mother, I can't remember her name for the life of me, and I hate that I'm blanking right now. But so, like, what she says after all that information is given out, like, totally encapsulates that moment. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of information to get in 30 seconds. Like, you don't say.
So great.
You don't say, Judy. But so, my number 3, another episode that was touched upon earlier on Zack's list, the one where everyone finds out. I had to, because it's so pivotal to the rest of the series, and like how everyone, like that whole arc of people finding out that Monica and Chandler are an item. Like that's personally one of my favorite comedic arcs, the whole series, you know, like just how everybody finds out. Joey finding out that Monica lost her hairbrush in the hotel, and then he figures it out that way. And the look on his face, like, he's pointing at them. I'm like, yes. You did it. You figured it out. Good job, Joey. But and then Rachel, the one with the resolutions. Awesome. Yeah. Phoebe finding out in this episode, right at the beginning, Chandler and Monica up against the window when they're in Ugly Naked Guy's apartment. That whole scene. I have to touch on this comment. Isn't this entire show David Schwimmer's best performance?
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
It is, because I remember watching the pilot, and he was the one that stood out to me the most, because out of everyone, his physical comedy with the umbrella in the first episode, right off the bat, I'm like, I'm already sold. I'm going to love him. And then he just impressed me every single episode. He was great.
Yeah. And I believe like the reunion talked about the casting process pretty in depth. I think the creators said that Schwimmer was the first one cast out of the main ones.
They wrote it with his voice in mind.
Yeah. They had Schwimmer's voice in mind, and they wanted him to do it. I think he was in a play around that time, and like he was like, he didn't know if he could commit to it, but lo and behold, the rest is history. He said yes, and we were off to the races. And
thank God.
It was so awesome, and just the woo! Like just how excited he gets is just so childish. It's so Ross, though. Gotta love that. And then eventually, you know, that whole arc where Phoebe tries to seduce Chandler, and like how uncomfortable it can get at times. Just eventually getting Chandler to cave in and, you know, admit the truth. Like Monica doesn't lose, but she lost that time. She picked the wrong horse in that race for sure. But with that said, I mean, it's a perfect pairing. And then that damn credit scene where Ross finds out, and then playing into the very next episode, like the whole thing where they were like, oh, I'm sorry you had to find out this way. And then turns on a dime. My best friend and my sister. He's like, he's so happy. And then we kind of already have known for a while. And then he was like, what? Wait, you didn't tell me? We were worried about how you'd react. You were worried about me?
It's insane. The way he flips back and forth in that season is just, oh my God, it's next level.
I mean, again, like he was getting into a lot of trouble that season. You know, he was kind of going insane. You had the unagi bit that Marcus was talking about, screaming like a little girl in the apartment when the girls scare him. So awesome. And then, like, who can forget him lugging the couch up the stairs?
Pivot. Oh my god. Okay, so like side note, it was just so funny. I'm going off on a tangent, but you
It's
just
fine.
So my uncle and my dad had to move a big table like from one room to the other. So I was outside. I was outside with my little cousins, and all I hear from inside is my uncle, Pivot, and my dad. I was like, "Are you guys insane?" I was dying of laughter. I'm like, still to this day, like that thing just stays. That line is just, it's iconic.
I mean, that episode in itself, Chandler was really funny too, and like how sarcastic he could get, like Ross with the diagram, and Rachel was like, "Oh, what's that? Oh, that's me. Wow, you certainly fancy yourself a little, don't you?" "Oh no, that's my arm." Oh yeah, see, I just thought you really liked your new couch, but love it.
So good.
Love it. Obviously, extremely quotable. We got 2 episodes left. The top tier. What you got, Zach?
All right, this is one that I haven't heard talked about yet. It's a season 8 episode that I think is one of the best. And season 8 is the year that they won their Emmy. It's the season that won the Emmy.
Nice.
I think this episode is one of the reasons why. It's the one with the videotape.
Yes. So good.
How did I not put this on the list?
Well done.
This is, I think, one of the most brilliant episodes that they've written. It's basically all building up to one big punchline that hits so hard at the end of the episode. Because Ross and Rachel are debating who came on to who to end up getting Rachel pregnant. And Rachel says that Ross came on to her. Ross says that Rachel came on to him, and that he has it on videotape. Because we flash back in the episode, he was working with Joey because he hasn't had sex in like 6 months. Yeah. So Joey was teaching him a story that leads to sex on dates. I was backpacking across Western Europe. So he goes on this date and he uses Joey's story, but the girl has been to Western Europe. Oh my God. So he like makes up some kind of like fake year he was there so that he didn't align with her, and he's like, I was 13. And it goes horribly wrong. So Joey sits him down in front of this video camera that he uses to practice for his auditions, and Ross is talking into it when Rachel comes in because she needs help with the invitations. And so the friends sit down and they watch this videotape, and halfway through the conversation, Rachel turns to Ross and says, "You know, did I ever tell you about the time I was backpacking across Western Europe?" And every single reaction from the friends hits so hard, even to the point, it's just brilliant callbacks, because earlier in the episode, Monica and Chandler, they met some people on a plane. I think they're coming back from a vacation, and they got their phone number, but they find out it's a fake phone number. And Phoebe and Joey are telling them how they can have fake names. Yes. And Phoebe goes, "Hi, Regina Phalange," and Joey goes, "Hey, Ken Adams." And so when this reveal happens, Rachel says that she heard it from her friend who heard it from some guy, and Joey goes, "Some guy." No, he said his name was Ken Adams.
Ken Adams.
Brilliant. It's some of the best callback writing I've seen in television. It's one of my favorite episodes. It makes me laugh so hard when we get to that reveal, and all the reactions just hit every single time. I love the one with the videotape.
So perfect. Luke Ponto thinks it's awesomeness in the chat. I have to agree. And just the whole reversal also of Rachel like completely repulsed by Ross taping their ordeal, which is perfectly warranted. Ross got into trouble there. But then turning it completely around, Ross doesn't want them to see the tape, and then Rachel's like, "I want to see it." Okay, I mean, I guess we're doing this.
Oh, God.
It was just, it's brilliant. I can't believe I didn't put that on my list personally. I would put that as an honorable mention.
I forgot.
Oh, God, I wish. We'll do a lightning round of honorable mentions once we're done. How about that? So I love that episode. I really, really do. The Ken Adams thing. By the way, I love how Zach and I both raised our hands like at exactly the same time.
Did you really?
Yeah, you did. I saw. I was like, "Oh my God!"
Oh my God! Yeah. too good, and
awesome.
I'm willing to bet at least $20 that Joey has never been to Western Europe himself.
Oh yeah,
I'm willing to
way.
bet. There's not a chance. Not a
No
chance.
way.
Joey doesn't have the time. He doesn't have the money. So, like, he's a struggling actor. How could he have the money? But in any case, Manda,
this is oh god, this is literally my favorite. This is my favorite episode. It's at number 2, and it's my favorite episode because my number 1 is like emotional. But anyways, number 2 is the one with the jellyfish. Because the writing in that episode, they're at the beach house. Phoebe has to go to find her mom, her actual mom, her biological mom. And she finds out that, she's not the person that she thought she was. And she has that kind of settled. That was the whole reason why it was important for them to go to the beach. But other shenanigans happened. Do you remember Bonnie? Because Bonnie was up there with Ross and she shaved her head and all the hoopla and blah, blah, blah. All the hoopla. So she shaved her head. Yeah. And Ross went to Rachel. They spoke about getting back together, and then Ross breaks up with Bonnie, and then they head back to the city. But the reason why it's called the one with the jellyfish is because Monica gets stung and someone has to pee on the jellyfish sting. And the reveal in the city is the best. It is the best where like, ew, you peed on yourself? No, I couldn't bend that way. So, ew.
That's right. I took one for the team.
I stepped up. She's my friend. If I had to, I'd pee on any one of you. So they get that line. But again, that's not the best part of the episode. We have a letter that was written by Rachel.
How many pages?
18 pages, front and back. And it is just hilarious. The last, I say 10 minutes of that episode is pure gold. They were arguing back and forth. They finally had it out and they were just, oh my God, it's just hilarious. It was just hilarious. And I loved it so much. I've never heard "we were on a break" 1,000,001 times. Chandler then says in Central Perk, "Oh my God, if you say it one more time, I'm going to break up with you." And it is just perfectly written in my eyes. Every single beat was hit. There's so much going on in that episode, and it is iconic.
Well, we were on a break. That's no excuse, Ross. That's no excuse to do what you did. That's terrible. But, I mean, do you guys really think they were on a break, though?
Yeah.
That's $1 million question, yeah?
Yes.
They were on a break, but I still think Ross was kind of sleazy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Zach.
they also didn't really set boundaries, and it was up in the air. So, this is why communication matters in relationships, and that's what I learned from that entire situation. Yeah. Where, if you just say you're on a break, well, Rachel had the intent. Like, is that a break up? Like, what does that mean? You can't just say on a break and then leave me hanging, type of thing. So, yeah, Ross was definitely sleazy, but the break means space. So,
yeah, and everybody else is saying yes, they were on a break in the chat.
Yeah.
Squibbles, what's going on? That letter taught me it's always important to read written contracts, even though it was a letter in the episode. Yeah.
Oh, about that episode, when I was in school, anytime I had to write "you" or "you are," I had Ross's voice in my head. Why are you are? Apostrophe RE means you are. Why are you are means you're.
Oh my God, yeah. But took a big swig of soda there as you were saying that. I really struggled there.
Even at the end where where Rachel's like yelling at Ross out of the apartment, she's like, "And just so you know, it's not that common. It doesn't happen to every guy, and it is a big deal." And she slams it, and Chandler's like, "I knew it." And it was just
behind the door, and he just comes out. Oh my
so God,
good.
So best amazing. Ending. Hearing Ross scream, "We were on a break" from the bedroom. I don't know if it was that episode specifically.
Yeah, it was. And then they ran into the other bedroom. Oh my God.
Fine by me. Again, Schwim, nothing beats him in terms of performance in my eyes. But my number 2, somehow an episode that has not been brought up yet, but this is playing on Manda's emotion right here, playing on my emotions. I'm going with the 100th episode, the one where Phoebe gives birth.
Nice.
So basically, I love that episode where she gives birth to the triplets. They're her brother's triplets, and it's the end of a big arc of her freaking people out. But Joey also has a fun gimmick of having kidney stones in the hospital. And the doctor in that, fun fact, also plays the principal on Glee. So, it was cool to see him.
Right.
Oh my God, yeah.
Iqbal Thiba, yep, that was the doctor, yep. And he keeps saying, like, it felt like his only line was, kidney stones. And I'm like, okay, can he say anything else? I know it's kidney stones, but like, I mean, he does say more, like, eventually once it's time for Joey to get rid of the kidney stones. He's like, are you ready? It's time to try peeing. At the same time, Phoebe's going to give birth. And just the way, like, it parallels together, Phoebe giving birth in one room, Joey passing those stones in the other. So comedic gold. And Phoebe also giving birth herself. That was, I mean, her doctor had a fun gimmick of having an obsession with the fawns. So, like,
that's right.
Did he just say, I love Fonzie? Like, and how they named Phoebe got to name one of the kids after Chandler. Chandler turns out to be a girl, and Chandler does not take too kindly to that. I mean, it is like, to me, it's the perfect blend of hilarious comedy and heightened emotions. Because that ending of the episode, Phoebe was carrying these 3 kids around for so long, and she has to get rid of them. There was even a point where she was looking at Rachel. She's like, can I tell you a secret? I want to keep one. Don't tell. Don't tell.
So
and then Rachel's like, what? I don't want to be a part of this. But I mean, the ending of that episode always makes me tear up. Like, anytime she's like reaching out for the high fives and the little baby reaches out for one, I'm like, it gets me every time.
It's true.
Every single time. And then you get to a post-credit scene where Chandler is still upset about the woman or the girl and one of the 2 girls in those triplets having his name. But Phoebe's brother is so weird. Like, can we just say Phoebe's brother's a freaking weirdo?
He's so funny though.
He is. Giovanni Ribisi. Like, he doesn't get the credit.
Okay.
Yeah, he's so funny.
I love when he comes back later on in the series with the kids and they're older. And he meets up with Phoebe in the coffee house and he's like, I haven't slept in 4 years.
Well,
one of the kids to her. It's a funny moment.
I also I just love like how he's still asking Phoebe for favors after all that time, and he's like, yeah, my wife's gonna be here, like, I don't know, she's stuck in traffic, so do you mind just holding them in? Do me a favor. And then Phoebe was like, yeah, Frank, I'm kind of in the middle of the last favor you told me to do. But so that's the thing about Friends. They have no qualms about going incredibly dark sometimes, subtly dark at that. Yeah. But that's just a prime example there. Hold the babies in. I can never imagine. Could never. But guys, here we are. Probably the toughest thing I've ever had to do. My favorite Friends episode. One of the most controversial opinions.
Oh God.
Hot takes only. Zach, take it away.
Wow, number 1. Well, the number 1 episode that I picked, because this is one that my mom and I just love to watch together, so it's kind of the one that sticks with me. And also the going to the comfort aspect of the show is the one where no one's ready. I think the one where no one's ready, is one of the most unique episodes because, as some know, that they had to save money for this episode. So they only shot it in one location, and it's the first and I think only episode of Friends that they basically shot as a play. They played it out as a script from beginning to end, and you can really feel it when you watch that episode. There's no transitions. There's none of the classic transitions that the show has. It seamlessly cuts to people entering in and out so seamlessly that you really do feel like it doesn't really even feel like a written episode. It does really just feel like you're watching these guys having an evening. Like, they're not even just like performing. They're just, these are the characters in their normal lives. It's a evening. They've got half an hour to go to this place. It feels like half an hour. The whole episode feels like it takes place in real time, and you're just hanging out with these guys and spending an evening with them. And for that, it's my number 1 pick. And also you got the classics, like, could I be wearing any more clothes? And you were gonna drink the fat.
That's
oh my god, that's right.
oh yeah, yeah. There is a gimmick. Yeah,
that's right.
Yep, it's fat. I drank fat. Joey really was offended that he drank fat, and he was. I mean, that's what he gets for looking in the fridge everywhere. But
I remember that.
Just a side note, I that did make me think of an honorable mention, but the one with Joey's fridge. When Joey's fridge was broken. Yeah.
The fridge broke, so I had to eat everything.
When he pushes Ross into it.
What the hell am I doing? You just broke my fridge. How do you even know it's broken? Oh, you think I don't know what breaks my fridge? Oh, what do you know? Broken. Yeah, that'll be $400. Yeah, no, Joey, you pushed him. Love it. Do not give him any money. I'm not talking to you. You broke my fridge. Gotta love it. Love it. Love it. Sorry, I'm quoting this show too much, but
no, I love it.
It's so quotable. Luke was talking. This is the most quotable show other than South Park that's out there. But
fair.
I would argue this is more quotable than South Park because I feel like it's more accessible to a lot of people.
Yeah, I haven't watched South Park, so
yeah, South Park. It's very crude, very crude for sure. But it's not for everybody. Not for everybody. I'll just say that. But Zack, certainly a valid choice. No one's ready. Manda, hot takes only. The queen of the hot takes.
Thank you. I went with the heart on this one. This one makes me cry even more than the last episode in the finale. And it's going to be the last one, part 1, where Rachel is actually saying goodbye to everyone one by one, taking them into the room and telling them how much they mean to her. And it is just the most emotional thing that I've watched, because we know the finale is next. So having all of these goodbyes in that episode just made me cry even more than the finale. So you had, I think that was also the bubble wrap episode that they that they put Joey in bubble wrap and they were punching him instead of packing Rachel's stuff. So
yeah,
that was that one. So again, they balanced the comedy with really emotional moments that really just hit you. And I'll never forget Monica and Rachel crying on the bed and you could not understand a word they were saying. Like that kind of thing. But you kind of understood because they were, they were just sad about leaving each other. But
yeah,
just so emotional. And then Rachel has that one last night with Ross, and it was beautifully done, the final 2 episodes of the season, but part 1 of it just it hits
close
me.
to home. Yeah, I was very close to putting both parts of the finale on my list as one, because I kind of count the 2-parters as one episode personally, but again, how Ross and Rachel's saga, as Amanda's been calling it, how that wraps up is absolutely brilliant. And then with the callback of Ross being yeah, this is it. Unless we're on a break. And I'm like, are you serious?
Don't make jokes now.
Are you serious? And then that final scene in the apartment, they leave all the keys there. I just lose it. But they still have all the comedy there. They're like, yeah, do you want to get coffee? And then Chandler's like, yeah, where?
I love
where do you want
to
go?
That was ad-lib too by Matt. It was just oh my God.
Perfect.
So perfect.
Perfect finish to the series. It had to be Chandler with the last line for sure.
Yeah,
it had to be.
Yeah. I didn't think of that. That's true.
Credit where it's due.
Amanda's episode, one thing that I wanted to add, my favorite moment in that episode is when she's saying goodbye to Joey and he starts climbing on the balcony. And they're
That's true. I remember that too.
Oh
cute.
my God. No, I loved it. Joey no, it makes me I'll mention it on my honorable mentions when we get there. But my number one, Zack, you and I are together on this, the one where no one's ready, because I feel so Friends had been going on for 2 whole seasons at this point. To me, it took them 2 whole seasons and 2 episodes to really figure out the tone of what this show is. Now, there was certainly a lot of romance to be had in those first 2 seasons with the Rachel and Ross saga, Paulo coming into the picture and all that, Joey womanizing everybody, Monica. Well, Monica didn't mean Monica met up with Richard in season 2, I want to say.
Wasn't it Pete that she was with?
Pete was season 3. John Favreau, right?
Yeah.
John Favreau, who turns into a mixed martial artist. That's a weird sentence to say in 2021, especially considering where he is right now as a director mainly, and as Happy Hogan in the MCU. But that's another guest star a lot of people forget about. But I really love this episode. To Zach's point, it was shot like an entire play, and I'm a big theater guy, so technically I think this episode is a masterpiece. Like from beginning to end, it really does feel like a night with these friends. You really feel like you're a fly on the wall. You don't really feel like these are actors. You feel like these are real people. And again, these were touched on. Joey wearing all of Chandler's clothes, taking the essence of the chair. He gives Chandler the chair. And he's like, well, where are you going? Well, you said I could give you the chair, but you said nothing about the cushions. But just so stupid. It's such a stupid argument. But that does lead into one fascinating behind-the-scenes story that I never knew happened. They talk about at the reunion. This is the episode where they not only you talk about them saving money. That wasn't the only hurdle they had to jump over, because Matt LeBlanc got injured this episode.
That's
jumping into that armchair on one take, he dislocated his shoulder. It was either that or he broke his collarbone, one of the two. And he goes into the other room. Ross is like, yeah, we got to cut this. Schwib's like, yeah, we're done for the day. So they actually, the next episode, they did write in a little angle where Joey had to wear a sling.
Yes, he's jumping on the bed.
That's why your parents told you not to jump on the bed. Like, in hindsight, I was like, that's so silly. But like, it makes so much more sense. Squibbles does, thank you for the clarification. It was a dislocated shoulder for Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah.
I mean, power to him for powering through it and all that and finishing. But yeah, a dislocated shoulder is nothing to mess with. So I was happy that they finished off the episode there. Rachel's arc was brilliant, how she is the most ready one there. And then, Ross says one thing about her. And Schwim does not take off that tuxedo one time.
No,
he doesn't. He's just in that tuxedo the whole way through. And Rachel changes into her PJs. And, it's so great. It's so great. And Ross has to drink the fat. He was going to drink the fat, but... it's so sometimes the key is simplicity. And I feel like that's the most simple approach to an episode that I can imagine here. And this is at this point, this is the point in the show where it really takes off for me. So, and this is the episode that really kicked it off. You got the one with the football shortly after that. You got a bunch of guest stars coming in. I think Ben Stiller would guest star shortly after this, where he was yelling at everybody.
At the chicken, the duck.
Yeah. Now the chicken, the duck. Oh my God! He was like, "Why are you screaming at them, Ben Stiller? Like, what did they do to your family?" The chicken, the duck did nothing. But
and that's when I think Ben Stiller did Along Came Polly with Jennifer Aniston, or it would have been later or something like that. So that's that link too, which was weird. But
haven't seen that actually.
It's so cute. That. It's like a typical like early 2000s type
rom-com.
Yeah,
rom-com. I mean, not to say rom-coms are bad. There's a lot of good ones out there, but my friends, I gotta do it. There were so many episodes we went through, but real quick, we'll just go around and we'll do, if I can pull up this picture in time, the lightning round. The lightning round. There we go. What episodes didn't make your list that you would like to talk about? Zach, I'll let you go first.
The one with the ball. That's one that comes off the top of my head.
Oh, I love that episode.
That's another pretty simplistic one, too, where it's just Joey and Ross throwing a ball, seeing how long they can go without dropping it, and then all the rest of the gang joins in, and Rachel comes with this hairless cat, and the jokes on that cat are relentless.
It's so bad.
He puts the ball down, and they're like... Monica, of course, is the most competitive one of them all. They're like, It's okay. Didn't touch the ground. 5-second rule, and they were like, "No, that's for eating food. That's for eating food off the floor. This is just a ball. We're done. We're done." But Luke said lightning round, so I had to put that up there. I mean, the one with Joey's fridge. That's one. That's one that came to mind.
Yeah,
I like the one where Joey speaks French.
Yeah.
I have to include that one, you know.
Oh God. Je m'appelle flute.
Je te fruit flee.
That's the one where at the end they're going through his resume trying to see what's real. And he says that he can drink an entire jug of milk, and he just starts chugging it, and it falls all over his shirt.
All over the place. And they were like, new record. But yeah, I love that too. I mean, Joey, I like when Joey comes in with the maternity pants and he's like, "No, these are my Thanksgiving pants."
Yes, when he's gonna eat the whole turkey.
Yeah,
yeah.
Was that the one with the rumor? That might have been the one with the rumor.
Is it, or is that the ski trip one? No, it's too early. Which one?
Oh yeah, what one is that one? I don't remember what one.
I'm just looking up the one with the rumor. You can talk about an episode.
Or is that the one where it was Monica's first Thanksgiving and she was making everything for everyone? No, because that's a ski trip. And that's when Underdog got away, the balloon. That's that one.
Oh, yes.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That one? Well, no, that was when Phoebe was pregnant. She couldn't have turkey.
That's very true.
Rachel didn't want turkey. And then Monica didn't want turkey, and then Joey's like, "The whole turkey's for me," type of thing.
I just looked it up. It was the one with the rumor. Joey with the Thanksgiving pants. There you go.
Oh, wow.
These are my Thanksgiving pants because Monica was like, "I'm not going to be making turkey this year because you got all this like healthy food and this health nut coming in." And Joey's like, "What? I can eat a whole turkey," you know, like.
He did.
He did eat a whole turkey.
I love how he looked at it as like, "You are my Everest." And I was like, oh my God.
Here come the meat sweats.
I still say
Brilliant.
it. Every Thanksgiving, I say it.
Every Thanksgiving, I just take a nap after dinner. So that's what happens because tryptophan. But you got any, Manda? You got any?
Yeah, the one that I love the most is the one with the baby shower, and it has nothing to do with Rachel's baby shower, but it is the game of Bamboozled with Joey.
Oh, it's the best game ever!
The Wicked Wango cards. That is the highlight of the episode. Like, forget the baby shower. It's definitely that game show because they got really into it.
And then Joey goes into the audition and they completely change it up. And he's so like, he completely understands the original game at this point. Like, Joey, I'm a headhunter. I don't think the contestants are allowed to speak to each other. You know?
It's just so funny. Oh God. Yeah. The other one that I loved was early on, and it's the one with all the poker. Because again, it's such like an intimate episode, and they're there, and you really get to know the friends and who they are. And Chandler was just really spicy in that episode, and he was fun.
You don't say. Chandler had just broken up with. Oh my God!
Right?
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about Janice at all in this.
Janice, not at all.
She's
not at
great.
all.
Remember when he lied and said he was going to Yemen?
and then he almost had to take the flight to Yemen, and he was like, "I can't do this. I don't like you."
And then it's like 2 seasons later or something, and she goes with Ross. She has a little thing with Ross, and she still believes he's in Yemen.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, that's right. They did have a thing.
Oh my God!
And then Janice was like, "Joey, you're next." Remember Joey and Janice's day? Joey and Janice. And then his response is like, "I just want to like rip my arm off, so I have something to throw at her." Oh,
he's so done. He's so done. You know what? Yeah, this is just the lightning round. Is a bunch of weird tangents at this point in the stream, but one guest star that we haven't touched on is Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis, fresh
I
off of the
love
Sixth
that
Sense.
episode.
The
I
neat
love
guy
it.
himself.
Oh
Bruce
my
Willis.
god, that episode's
Yep.
amazing. When he's looking at himself in the mirror, he's like flexing. I'm
Bruce
just
Willis
a love machine.
plays such a misogynistic asshole in the show.
Oh
Like,
my God.
and I just love how it all turns out. Ross is dating Bruce Willis's daughter, and then Bruce Willis's character has a thing for Rachel.
Just,
of course.
it so happens.
Yeah.
Like,
It just so happens that Ross's girlfriend's father is with his ex right now.
it was
As
so
it
funny.
turns out, everybody got that. I'm
Got it.
sure yeah, everybody got that. Zach,
So
you have-
mad.
what other honorable mentions you got? What are you thinking?
Let's see here. I really do like the one with the blackout. It's a season 1 episode
Yeah.
where the city loses power and Chandler's stuck in the ATM vestibule with Jill Goodacre. And
And Paolo comes in.
yes, that's the
Yeah.
introduction to Paolo, and Ross is trying to tell Rachel how he feels, and things get in the way, like a cat on the balcony that attacks
funny.
him as
Oh,
First
God.
of
And then Phoebe's song. With Phoebe's song, she wrote a song. Remember?
Oh, right.
The city has no power, and the milk is getting.
Oh,
Oh God, her songs. We
tag.
didn't even mention her songs.
and
Her songs.
Tagrin spelled backward is nugget. you don't say, Phoebe. No, that makes me think of the episode where she was singing all the inappropriate songs to all those kids, and like the kids keep asking her to come back and sing all those inappropriate songs, even though they have no clue what they mean.
Yeah.
Like it's so awesome, so awesome. I of course love the episode where Ross gets his new couch with the pivot, of course, but
Yeah.
you also gotta love the episode where Ross brings the gang up to the roof for some stargazing, and Joey and Ross end up
Yes.
I
trapped on the roof.
Oh my God, that was
And
so good.
Ross is like, yeah, please, we're stuck up on the roof. And then Joey's the street smarts guy. He's the logical one, and Ross has the PhD, and he's like, yeah, no, we could have just gone down the fire escape, let's just do that. And then Ross is like, yeah, I wasn't done. Don't worry, it's warm.
They shimmy down each other's bodies. Oh my God. Yeah, let's go back to back. No, I don't want to my face to your butt. And then it just got worse because they went front to front.
It got so uncomfortable at that point. And then Ross went down first. He ends up breaking his shoulder. Again,
God.
oh, the irony. He was shimmying down the guy that actually broke his shoulder on set. There you go. There you go. Oh, the irony.
Oh.
But Luke, you said it best, man. There's so many episodes to
We
pick
can
from.
go on forever.
We could go on forever, but you know what, guys? This has been such a fun stream. My friend Zach, where can we find you?
I'm on YouTube. Zack Milne Talks Movies. If you type in Zack Talks Movies, you'll probably find me that way too. I'm on Twitter at Milne Movies, Milne. And yeah, just a fun hobby that I picked up a couple years ago, and I can't believe that it got me on a live stream with another YouTuber. The first collab, and this was a blast, man. Thank you so much. I'm so honored.
Totally.
I've been
awesome.
invited onto your stream. This is awesome.
Totally, man. And let's just say it won't be his last. It won't be his last for sure. So be sure to see him around on the channel. Manda, where can we find you?
Yeah, you guys can always find me over at AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I just started my YouTube channel, Candid Cinema, over on YouTube, obviously. And you can check out my website, candidxcinema.com. Thank you for having me, Zach. And Zach, it was so nice to meet you. Please like and subscribe to all their videos. Please subscribe. These guys are awesome. Honestly, this was such a pleasure. And it's
So
friends episodes. Brings
Friends.
everyone together, guys. It's awesome.
Totally. And you know what? Lots more fun live streams to come. So definitely stay tuned to all the viewers out there. Go subscribe to these two beautiful people's pods and all their stuff. Hit that subscribe button. It's big and red. You know you want to. It's totally free. You can always change your mind later. Be sure to hit that thumbs up as well if you haven't already. Guys, this was a total blast. Look out for this is a busy weekend. I've got my review written out for Low Key. I'm going to be filming that after we go off the air here shortly afterwards. Space Jam is this weekend. Space Jam 2.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying that, but
I love it. I bought tickets for a movie theater for the very first time in a year and a half.
Nice.
So
yes. Oh man, that's the first movie you're seeing in theaters like since COVID started.
Since the way back with Ben Affleck in like March 2020.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, in a theater, like legit in a theater.
The way back was good, man. I really enjoyed that. Yeah,
such a good movie.
It's a Gavin O'Connor movie too. He's so underrated. Yeah,
100%.
Love that film. Yeah, but you gotta, I had to see Black Widow last weekend. I'm probably gonna see Space Jam in theaters. In all honesty, HBO Max. I'm like, I gotta give Space Jam some love. I gotta give them some money. So we'll see how that goes. I hear LeBron James is not that good of an actor, but what else is to be expected? But guys, this has been a total blast. With all that being said, commence that back talk and see you on the next one. If you're watching the replay, let us know what you think of. What are your favorite 10 episodes of Friends? Let us know down in the comments. That would be so fun to compare and contrast. But with all that being said, see you guys on the next one. Take care.